Some of the coverage of serious issues is just appalling. And some formerly broadsheet newspapers that used to be located in Abbey Street have now gone off down to Down Market, down to Torres Street. The Indo is in a shocking state, really. It's very sad. That used to be one of them.
Misrepresenting your report, is it?
No. Producing, I've read it every day, I think, for the last 8 or 10 weeks, having not read it regularly for a long time, on the grounds the day is too short. It's just gone down market like a stone, cogging the Irish edition of the Daily Mail. And there's a lot of radio stations around now. They have a lot of current affairs programs. They are personality driven. The presenters are celebrities. You know, they're not engaged in informing the public about what the hell is going on. And they engage in a daily compassion competition with their interviewees. They interview government ministers in order to show that the presenter has more compassion than the minister. That's what a lot of it is about. It's amazing stuff. Not excluding RTE from that.
Yeah.
So the media is not a great nick. So, you know, my view on the whole thing, upbeat, is that you should never waste a good crisis. And when this is over, and it will be, we need a reconstituted banking system. We need to get the public finances back in balance as quickly as possible. There's no point hanging about with that. But I hope, and this is where TI comes into it, I hope as well we can kind of achieve some restoration of credibility in all of these key national institutions.
And how do we, like, do you believe in NAMA, Colm? Do you think that that is the way to go about starting to rebuild those banks?
I think that the draft bill which the Minister published in August, to his credit incidentally, he put it out there as a draft for a month or whatever it is time, for people to have a go at it, which they have. And it will be introduced to be first reading for Dublin, it's next Wednesday or Thursday. And then it'll be debated and passed or not passed. I'm sure there'll be lots of amendments to it. There's been a very intense debate going on amongst the Dismal Science Brigade about the bill. I don't think, if I was a Dáil deputy, I wouldn't vote for it as it stands. But it may be possible to make a series of amendments to it. A lot of it's very technical stuff that I don't want to bore you with. It may be possible to create an asset management agency structure to oversee the bank rescue. And there have been successful bank rescues abroad that use an asset management agency. There have also been cock-ups abroad that use an asset management agency. So it's not a guaranteed winner or a guaranteed cock-up. But I think the way it's set up at the moment it involves too many risks for the Exchequer. But on the broader issue, though, something has gone on in Ireland, which I'm really not. I'm not a political scientist or a social psychologist. Something has gone on with this disconnect between the public and politics. We've also been through an extraordinary credit-fueled property bubble, the first in the history of the state, when the country lost its marbles for 7 or 8 years. Huge numbers of people got sucked into it, including the newspapers, whose property supplements you had to bring home your wheelbarrow until fairly recently. And why that happened is an important question. You know, most European countries have not had a credit-fueled property bubble on the scale that we've had. It was relatively a very, very large bubble. And some people are still in denial about it. The whole country was in denial about it 12 or 18 months ago. People remember that the Taoiseach suggested that the economists should all go off and commit suicide. And that Bertie will be remembered for that and for nothing else. What they don't remember is that he was roundly applauded at a meeting at the ICTU when he made that remark. That's been forgotten, not by me.
But Colm, do you think that if NAMA is created in the right way, so if we'll say the kind of changes you would like to see brought into it and others, and in the end we'll say whatever NAMA emerges to be is a correct kind of instrument to try and rebuild the process, do you think that that is the beginning of it, that is the beginning of a new sort of modern post-boom Ireland where we will have proper regulation this time round and where we won't see the bankers behaving the way they did in the future?
No, the NAMA bill is not a bank regulation and supervision bill. It is a bank rescue bill, so it's a different gig. There will be a new central bank bill. The government has announced that this division between the central bank and financial regulator, that was, I thought at the time, said so, that was a mistake. I don't think it caused the crisis around, but I don't think it's the best way to do it. They're going to knock them back together again. They've appointed a new governor, Patrick Honan, whom a lot of us, I think, know well, to lead the central bank now. There will be a new bill. That new bill will have to bring in a new regulatory and supervisory regime for banking here. There will also be EU-level initiatives. Jacques-Claude Trichet, who's the president of the European Central Bank, has made it clear that there's going to be changes at European level, of which we're going to be a part. But it's got nothing to do with the NAMA bill. It's a different work package, I think it's called nowadays.
Constantin?
Well, I'll start with the trust idea. There are three things about trust between the business and between the business community and the broader public in this country, which you can divide it into three really strands. The first one is the technical aspects. We don't really have ability to do that, and as Colm has pointed out correctly, this is about capital reserve, type of the capital, which is admitted equity versus other forms of the tier 1 capital for banks and stuff like that. We can trust the Europeans and the Americans to sort it out for us. G20 has moved on that. Gardner has a very good plan on that. There's a lot of technical things there. This is really about the stability trust of the system. There's a political stuff, and this is more of a European domain and something that we've been talking about, the caps on reimbursement, for example, for the banks' heads and things like that. It strikes me amazing that we're going to have the EU, and this is what it will come to. The EU is going to, under the G20 agenda, probably impose some sort of a caps on our bank managers. But it won't impose a cap on the gratuitous pay to our politicians, such as our Taoiseach. He still will be earning more than Angela Merkel. He still will be earning more than the President of the United States.